Will now be recorded.
I'm working as a solution architect in the topmost MNCs, where I'll deal with different clouds, all the three clouds, with the different DevOps platforms like GitHub, Azure DevOps, as well as I also deal with Terraform, Terragrunt, Kubernetes, Docker, Gitlab, many other services related to AWS, Azure, and GCP. So today we are here to learn or to get trained on the DevOps with Terraform, Terragrunt, Kubernetes, and Docker, as well as the GitLab, because this is one of the most important things that is happening on the today's market, because everyone are seeing for reducing their size, reducing their cost. So to get these things reduced, and because I mean, most of the companies which I saw or which I heard or which I observed is majorly focusing on cost optimization. And this cost optimization will happen based on the services that we use. So how quick the services opt or how quick the services start, that depends on the cost, as well as the cost also matters with how less your services are. That is, whatever the output or whatever outcome we require, that we anyways need to gain it. But gaining the outcome with high-end services is one way, gaining the outcome with low-end environment, but still gaining everything the other way. So we are dealing with the other way now. That is, we will gain everything. We will set up what we want. We can go with the high-end application deployment with the very less infrastructure. Those infrastructure, those concepts will be covering under this process. That is Terraform, Terragrunt, Kubernetes, and Docker. Okay, so this is about the quick intro of myself and to what we achieved today or why we are here today. So let's start with quick intro of yourself and we can go continue with our classes. Anyone wants to give a quick intro of yourself?
Yeah, hi. My side. This side Ajay. I'm from
Hey
Hyderabad.
Ajay.
Hi. I have 5+ years of experience and 1 year experience into DevOps and 4 years of experience into non-IT. So I'm
Okay,
trying to learn GitLab and Terraform and Docker Kubernetes here. I'm working for a project where we deal with Azure DevOps and on-premise things. So in that we are using Azure DevOps things and GitLab. So for that reason, I have planned to learn this course.
that's nice, Ajay. Nice to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Anyone next? Okay. No one wants to give their intros. Okay, that's fine. So now let's start with our things. Like, okay, first thing, what you see or what you hear when you hear the word called DevOps, Docker, Kubernetes, what are all the things that we generally see in the market today? Why are these words are specifically mentioned? These are very important kind of thing. What do you feel about this after listening to the words called Docker, DevOps, Terraform, Terragrunt, Kubernetes? What are all this? Okay, so these words or these technologies are the techniques of automation or techniques to deploy your infrastructure, techniques to deploy your application in a better way where we used to follow in earlier days. Rather than that, these are very advanced, very benefitable, and to deploy applications in a better way. Okay, to start with, before I start with all these things, let me give you an example of, if you take, okay, so where, let's take the very recent example which is coming in next 2 days. So you, anyways, you all know about this and you all heard, and every 3 months, these days, every 3 months we are getting this Big Billion Days, or Flipkart Big Billion Days, or Amazon Great Indian Festival, or in November 28th you will be getting a Black Friday for US, and the offer day on December 1st in US, and in India it is Big Billion Days and Great Indian Festival. So after, by hearing this Great Indian Festival, or everyone will start buying up phones, everyone will start buying the what they require, because they put plenty of offers. Now, to put this plenty of offers, or to make the application run without any issues, even after 1 lakh or 2 lakh or 2 million or 3 million customers searching for the application, even though the application won't go in a downtime, or the application won't crash. Have you all think about this, how this is happening or why this is happening? Because the backend is, yeah, go ahead, Ajay.
Yeah, DevOps engineers are reason for it. We are using load balancers and everything to maintain the application.
Correct. So the DevOps, as Ajay mentioned, DevOps engineers or a DevOps role plays a major thing over here. That is the reason why the Kubernetes, Docker, or Terraform came into picture. And Kubernetes, Docker plays a major role in such days conducting such. Earlier, when in 2000s or 2015s or 2010, I would say, if Amazon need to conduct a Big Billion Day or Great Indian Festival in 1 year at once, they need to struggle for 6 months. From 6 months, they'll start planning for searching a big. Now, if you take within 15 days, they will quickly go ahead, and only for the advertisement they are taking now time, like a 1 month or 1.5 month. But the application spinning up the things and everything within 15 days, they'll go ahead and they'll start doing all these things. So these are all the examples, or these are all the real time scenarios where you will see why Kubernetes is important or Docker is important. I'll give you one more example. So you all have the laptops, right? You all have the laptops and you all use the laptops or computers. So let's say in computers, C drive is the most important for us, because in C drive we will be having operating system, right? So now tell me, this C drive space is, if you install a operating system in C drive, it takes 25 GB to 30 GB of space, or at least it starts with 10 GB, right? Guys, I would request everyone to respond back. That's the
Yes.
way where we can go ahead and we can learn a lot of things. And I can even go ahead and more explain you in a deep dive manner if we ask questions or if you respond back. So it could be a interact. Let's make it as an interactive session rather than just a hearing session. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Now this 10 GB. So do you ever think that how come an operating system is taking 10 GB? We are wasting 10 GB on an operating system. The one person who think about that came the idea of why it is taking 10 GB is the Docker concept. Now, if so, whatever we are using as a virtual machine or as a laptop, the same thing we use in a Docker as a container. So there is no difference at all. So, but in container, the space is 10 MB, but in operating system of virtual machine, the C drive space is 10 GB. That is the difference of reducing the size, and that is the difference of presenting or deploying the application in better way. So these are all the different concepts which made everything possible in a advanced manner, or as the technology evolving day by day into a very good scenarios. These are all the basic steps, or these are all the important steps that we use to make our application or infrastructure in a very better way. Okay, clear everyone on this? So now let's go and let's say where this IT or this DevOps started, or the concept of IT started. In 2000 or early 2000s, we used to have servers concept manually configured. In early 2000s, we used to have servers, and I don't know how many of you have installed operating system in your computer. Did anyone try that in your while you are doing your BTech or degree or 10th? Or we used to do this CD. At that point of time, we have operating system in CD, and whenever system crashes, we used to go ahead and install our operating system of Windows 10, Windows 7. I remember Windows 7, 1996 version that we deployed using floppy first, and then CD, and then pen drive. Now inbuilt we are getting the operating system. How many of you have installed the operating system over here?
Yeah, we did install through CD.
Oh, using the CD. Okay, cool. So that's called the manually configuring your servers or operating system, C drive or whatever it is, which is so even when you install the operating system, it takes 25 to 30 minutes to install a operating system, right?
Yeah, that's
And
correct.
we will get error prone because if C drive is not formatted, or if C drive is cached, or if C drive is crashed, so we used to get errors. So this is first in early 2000s we used to do this manner. By 2010, after 10 years, we have this concept of virtualization, that is VMware concept came into picture. Or if you heard about this Hyper-V, that is in one laptop creating 20 other machines, 30 other machines. That's the concept of virtualization or VMware came into picture. Within next 3 years, see now how quick the technology is evolving. If you observe 2000s, we used to install servers manually, but after 10 years the virtualization started. From the starting of virtualization, the actual evolution of technology started. Within 3 years we got this concept of containers. From 2013 we are using Docker, that is revolutionized deployments. This is the actual trigger point in IT industry, because this is the time where the deployments spent very quick speed up manner. And earlier, before 2013 or in 2010 or 2000s, if we take 6 months of time to one application to be deployed, that is one application to go live, it used to take, or just a point like, let's say Amazon, okay, let's take the example of Amazon website itself. In Amazon website, now iPhone 17 Pro came into picture. If you observe iPhone 17 Pro, once they launch, from the next minute or from the next 10 minutes or 20 minutes or at least a half day, by the time Amazon is posting its iPhone 17 or iPhone 17 Pro images and its cost. So half this is possible in half day. In 2000s and in 2010, if you take the same thing, it will take 1 month, or it will take 1 month 15 days to come the application into online at least. So this is the difference between evolving. Once the Docker, or once the speed up of the application deployments came in, within half day, with the help of DevOps engineer or with the help of automation concepts, this is happening in within minutes or within seconds. Okay, but by the next 2015, in next 2 years, the concept of Kubernetes came into picture to manage containers. Okay, now from 2018 and plus, Terraform or Terragrunt, 2018 plus, Terraform or Terragrunt for infra automation. Okay, and from now, if you take the example of 2025 or after 2019, I would say from 2019 to till now, we are using Gitlab or CI or CD or Azure DevOps for automation pipeline. So I would say best example like companies like Netflix, Uber, Amazon, Flipkart, Snapchat, WhatsApp, whatever it is, run these tools daily for a proper deployments. So I would say after training, when you are searching for a job, I would say you would be probably or guarantee that you can go ahead and search for DevOps or DevSecOps engineering job roles in the topmost companies, because these are all the companies which are hiring DevOps engineers or DevSecOps engineers gradually, like within I would say in 1 month they're trying, and approximately up 6 to 7 DevOps engineers are getting promotions, or say 10 to 15 DevOps engineers are getting jobs, and even more. 10 to 15, not members. I'm talking about the percentages. Okay, so that's how that's evolving the technologies. Clear everyone on this?
Yes.
Any questions, confusions, doubts? Okay, as we are discussing about how the concept started, from where it started from 2000 to 2025, in this 25 years, what are all the different technologies came into picture? We have seen all these things with numbers. Now, as it started with the Docker, let's go ahead and see what Docker is. Okay, in the past, that is before Docker, apps or applications were deployed on servers manually. It worked until apps grew and most of the applications got increased. Till that time we were managing it manually, and even now there are few companies or there are few applications which still needs the manual deployment. That is like there is few R&D, research and development based applications, or there are few applications which are in government offices or banking sectors that are still uses the manual deployment. That is, if you understand, or I don't know whether how many of you have worked. Okay, first tell me how many of you are working here, or how many of you are freshers?
I am working, Ravi.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm also
Yeah, I'm
working.
working.
I'm working.
okay, Okay. Okay, so these here most of the people are working. So I don't know how many of you have seen this. So developers, when they write code, they used to prepare a build project on the Visual Studio or .NET SQL database, and that particular build file or project folder, they will give it to operations or IT team. And now IT team, what it will do, that complete folder they will copy and they will put it in a virtual machine, and from virtual machine they will deploy the application either using the Apache or IAS. IAS, Apache, Tomcat, these are all the hosting platforms we call. So IAS or Apache or Tomcat, so these are all the hosting platforms, and when they copy the folder in the virtual machine, they will create a path from IAS to that folder. That's how the application is getting deployed. So we used to follow this process before Docker containers or before the concept of automation came into picture. Okay, now Docker solved this issue with containers. Docker containers are small, portable packages that run anywhere. Now, this is called the Docker. Okay, so when we say it is small, when we say portable packages or it can run anywhere, now why actually the Docker came into picture is, I would say, okay, so as you all, I mean, working here and there are freshers, so I would say if you work for a company and if there is without Docker, I'll say, if I would say without Docker, if you work for a company and if you go to a developer, the first and foremost point that you hear from a developer is when they try to deploy the application, the first and foremost point, I don't know, I mean, if you can, if you have any of your friends or if you have anyone who listened it already or freshers or whoever it is, you can just go ahead and check it in the internet or the um, you can ask your friends who are working or whatever it is. But the first and foremost point that every developer would say is code is working in my local, it is not working in the server. This is the basic point you hear. Now the Docker keeps fully stop for that point. Why? Because with the help of Docker, you will even deploy the dependencies of that application. That is, if a developer using dot point version 2 dependency will also be installed. So if I am using version 5 and if my developer is using version 2 or if server is using version 3, but still if you go and install a Docker based image in the application or in the server, that particular Docker application will take the help of the dependency version to which we put in the container or image, and it will go ahead and deploy the application, and this application will be deployed and work successfully without any issues. That important or that effective the Docker plays a major role. Now let's see how this Docker being installed in our computers or how the Docker can be used. So Docker, we can go ahead and install it using Docker Desktop or Docker Hub. This is the cloud platform, I would say. Okay. This is like how you all see Azure DevOps or GitLab. In the same way, we have this Docker Hub where we will store our images or we can go ahead. All these are predefined less size images, I would say. So if you run MySQL, it is very MB. And if you take Nginx, this is also very MB. Now, how can we go ahead and run these applications, or how can we go ahead and use this particular databases is we must need to install Docker Desktop. How this Docker Desktop looks is this is how your Docker desktop looks like. Okay. Now, how can we go ahead and use this Docker is based on the Docker commands. So for Docker commands or Kubernetes commands, it is very easy to remember. Why? Because on every command in front you will use Docker. That is Docker run, Docker build, Docker -t, Docker -d, or whatever it is, whichever command you use, but you must and should use Docker. Let's take a basic example of this particular Docker command. Now, let's see how this Docker application works. Now, let's run a hello world application. Okay. So if we want to run a hello world application, we use a command called docker run hello world. Okay, so now let's copy this command, and if we go to our Docker desktop and paste it over here, click enter, what it does, it first thing is we have this images box over here. So if you see, one second. So first thing is it will search here for Docker or Docker desktop or the images that which we are trying to run. Docker run hello world or Docker image or whatever it is. Okay. And then if the image is not present in your local, then it will go ahead and search for your hello world image from Docker Hub. From here, it will try to pull. Okay. Now let's go to our thing and let's see. Okay, settings. I'll close this and let me reopen the Docker desktop. Okay, I'm trying to open Docker desktop. Okay, while it is opening, it is taking time. So this is how you will use a Docker run hello world command. And then if you want to deploy a simple web app or the Nginx platform, you will write a doc. Okay, so now here the difference is so if you see the Docker hub, you will see all the predefined images. Okay, so now the question starts with how can we go ahead and use, or how can we write our own custom images rather than using these images, because these are all predefined images and we might need be using this, or our company might ask us to use our custom or our own things. At that point of time, you will write the Docker file. Now how can you go ahead and write the Docker file is Docker file for custom images is deploy a simple web app from Nginx East Alpine. The name or the word Alpine is nothing but it's a Shortest or the small sized image, we call it as alpine. Copy index.html slash usr share nginx html. This is nothing but this is how you will be writing a Docker file. That is how you will save a Docker file is if you go to your folder. This is how you will be saving a Docker file. When you take the example of this Docker file, so we have written for Ubuntu like this. You will be using a your notepad to write the Docker file. Let me check what's happening with my Docker desktop. Okay, it's still waiting. Okay, the doc is you opened, and if you go to containers, okay, terminal, and here let's run the application called first copy code paste. Okay, if you see if you see what it is trying to do, first thing what we are trying to search, we are trying to search for Docker desktop or Docker run hello world. So we are trying to run the application called Docker hello world. So when I'm trying to run the command Docker run hello world, what it is trying to see, it is first trying to see unable to pull the image from local. So it will search the images folder local, and if it is working or not, it will first see that. Okay, and then what it does, okay, as we don't have the images locally, it will try to push from the or pull from the Docker hub. So when we go back to containers, in the containers you can see this is how you will be running the or you will be installing the containers or creating the containers. Clear everyone on this? Any questions?
No, so far.
Okay. Now, this is how your Docker concept started, and you were using the Docker file, and you so packages plus app plus dependencies into portable. So that is in a small container or in a portable. Portable container is nothing but if I create a container or if I create a Docker image, I can go ahead and deploy. I can even share that image with you all, and you all can go ahead and deploy your Docker image or open the Docker container. Now, whatever the code I have, the same code you will be using it. That's called a portable containers, and then works anywhere. It is either it will work on laptop, it will work on server, or it will also work on cloud. Wherever you take, it will work over there. And then we have seen how to write a simple web app commands. Now the next thing is Kubernetes. Okay, so we are good. So everyone good with Dockers? Like at least you got to know what Docker is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
so fine. Now the concept is, let's say I have one application, I'm using a Docker container. If I have 10 applications, if I have 20 applications, if you take the example of Netflix needs 1,000 containers, or Netflix needs 10,000 containers. That's in this is I'm telling you in real time. Netflix uses 10,000 containers every day. 10,000 containers will be running across the world, not in just one region, across all the regions. That's where the concept of Kubernetes came into picture. So if you want to use one container, if you want to use one application, one container, Docker is best solution. But if you take the example of 10 containers, 20 containers, 10,000 containers, Kubernetes is the best solution for that. Okay. So that's why we
Kiran,
call,
can you please come again? I missed it.
sorry.
I missed it. Can you please come again?
Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is if you want to deploy one application in one container, Docker is the best solution. But if you want to deploy 10 containers, 20 containers, 1000, 10,000 containers, Kubernetes is the best solution for that. Kubernetes means the upgraded version of Docker. There is nothing else in that. Docker, you'll have only limited to one or two containers because one application you use one container. But in Kubernetes, 1000 containers with 10,000 applications, something like this. Okay. This is just, I'm just giving you a basic real-time example. But yeah, even you can use, there are a lot many things in the Kubernetes that we can go ahead and learn. Now, let's say we, what if Netflix needs 10,000 containers running across the world? That's that's where Kubernetes come in. Kubernetes equals to container orchestrator, that is group of containers, manages scaling, increase and decrease of containers, healing issues that comes with containers, and networking automatically. So if you install, so now when you use one container, it is easy for you all to customize the application, and it is easy for you all to manage the containers. But when you want to use the 10,000 custom containers, it is a bit difficult to maintain every container or check the networking points of each and every container. That's where Kubernetes will use the container orchestrator, which is called as, it manages the scaling. Scaling means, suppose let's say today I have okay, let's say why we use Netflix. Come on guys, let's make this session interactive. Why we use Netflix?
Online
To
shopping.
watch the movies, all the
Oh yeah.
things.
Yes, videos, movies, web series, we will see all this in the Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
So let's say we have a movie of any actor, like, or let's take this example. Let's take Geo Hotstar. So why we use Geo Hotstar?
To watch the movies, shows.
Correct. Watch the movies and shows and cricket mainly, right?
Yeah.
Let's say now ongoing Asia Cup. So in Asia Cup, when India plays with Australia, how many of you will see?
Few of us will see. Few of
L-
us
s-
not.
Yeah,
I will
correct.
say.
So India Australia match. If you, let's take the example of 1,000 people are watching India Australia match. Will that be same if the match is with India Pakistan?
Everyone will
Pretty
see.
more.
Pretty
No.
No,
more,
the viewership
right?
will be increased.
1,000 will increase to 10,000 or even 1 lakh or even 1 million, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I use the same sort of container for 1,000 people and 1 million people, will my container accept it? In a single room, if 1,000 people should fit in that room, if I push 10,000 people, will the room such makes it happen?
No, not
No.
possible.
Yes, that's the place where scaling comes picture. Scaling is it will adjust its volume based on the traffic in the sense customers. So if today, if India Australia is watching 1,000 people, it will allocate 2 or 3 containers where 1,000 people can watch the cricket without any issues. Tomorrow if India Pakistan match is happening and 1 million people are watching, this 1 million people will require 10 to 20 containers. Now the Kubernetes will auto scale themselves and provide 20 to 30 containers and make 1 million people watch without any issues or without any downtime. And also, not only that, if there is any issue with the network port or with firewall or whatever it is, it will auto heal itself after resolving the issue. And also, it will use the networking automatically. So these are all depends on the container orchestrator, and that is the reason why Kubernetes is important in today's life. For these are the reasons. Clear everyone on this? Any questions?
No.
Yeah, here I have one question over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, my point is like, don't we have scalability thing in Docker container?
No, we have the Docker container scalability also. But what I'm trying to tell you, for one few applications, Docker container is useful. When we are
Yeah,
using
for big
large
applications like
containers,
Netflix and Hotstar, we can go with the Kubernetes. You're saying, right?
yeah, not just Netflix and Hotstar, but the place where application requires more containers. So if company is using 10,000 containers or 20,000 containers, or like even for 20 to 30 containers, they will start using Kubernetes.
Will the budget varies then?
Yes, budget varies.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let's see how can we write this Kubernetes pod, okay? Or how can we write the application to deploy your web app. Same, let's take the same example of Nginx over here. So this is how we created Docker file to deploy the Nginx, and to deploy the same Nginx in a pod, in a Kubernetes, your pod would be API version v1 kind pod metadata name nginx hyphen pod spec containers name nginx image nginx. So this is a YAML based application where we write a pod definition. After writing a file like this, we will use command prompt or we will use PowerShell if we are using local machine to deploy our the pods into Kubernetes. Now, so remembering Kubernetes commands or Docker commands are very easy, because in front of every command, if the word Docker starts, that is called Docker command, and in front of every command, if kubectl kube control starts, that is called a Kubernetes control. Now, the commands are kubectl apply -f nginx -pod dot yaml kubectl get pods kubectl port forward pod or nginx pod 8080 is to 80. So these are all the kube control commands that we use to deploy the application nginx in any Kubernetes or Kubernetes web server or Azure DevOps or Git EKS or AKS. If you take the Kubernetes in Azure, we call it as Azure Kubernetes, and if you take the example of Kubernetes in the AWS, we call it as EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Services. Clear everyone on this?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah.
Can we install the Kubernetes on on-premise server?
Yes, we can even install the Kubernetes on on-premise server as well.
Okay.
So that's what Kubernetes is. If you use only the word Kubernetes, it is installed on on-premise or local machine. If you use the word called Azure Kubernetes, it is installed on Azure. If you use the word called EKS, Elastic Kubernetes, it is installed on AWS.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Now, so far we have seen the example of Hello World application. Dot someone will develop the application that we deploy into a container that is called Docker, and when we require 1,000 containers, we call it as Kubernetes, and we deployed the application on Kubernetes, and application is working. But what if we want to create infrastructure itself, that is Docker and Docker desktop and Kubernetes infrastructure itself? How can we go ahead and install it? So earlier, before Terraform or before Terragrunt, we will be deploying it manually, like going into Azure portal, click on next, 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 and create the Azure Kubernetes. But after coming, Terraform came into picture. Terraform is the process where you will go ahead and create infrastructure with code, that is IAC, infrastructure as a code concept. So that's why we call Terraform as infrastructure revolution. After we getting Terraform into picture, every other company now, 85 to 90% of companies are using this Terraform to deploy or to create their infrastructure. That is, so far we have run apps automatically, but where do these apps run? That is cloud infrastructure. Traditionally, admins clicked in Azure or AWS portal manually without scaling. Terraform let us write infra as code, infrastructure as code. Now, if we take the example of simple Terraform script provider Azure RM features resource group resource Azure RM underscore resource underscore group demo name demo hyphen rg location e- east US. So now the commands for this is terraform init terraform apply. So these are all the commands that we use. Now let's go ahead and quickly see how can we do this on the Terraform. Okay, let's take a small example, or let's try to deploy application. Let's say we are deploying, what is this? Okay, run, run. So here what we are trying to do, we are trying to deploy a storage account into Azure using Terraform. So how you write the Terraform script? Repositories, storage account. So here you will say you want resource group, location, and storage account name. So this is where it will go ahead and run the Terraform init first. Terraform init is nothing but initializing the Terraform, and then it will first initializes, it will collect the resources whatever it is required for running the application, and then it will validate it. Once after validation, it will go ahead and apply the changes. That is, whatever you are trying to find out, those changes will be applied. Okay, while it is running, any one of you have any questions, any confusions? Let's go ahead and discuss those things.
Hi Kiran, am I audible?
Yeah, Amar.
Yeah. So recently I heard about the bicep. So is this the same or for the
Uh,
infrastructure deployment?
yes, Bicep and Terraform both are different, but both are infrastructure as a code itself. Both are same family, but different
Okay.
tools.
Okay. So like if I I've worked on part of the Terraform. So
Mm,
it is Terraform we can use for AWS and Azure as well. So
correct.
similarly, can we use for the can we use bicep?
No, Bicep is purely Azure format. So you can't use Bicep for Azure or, sorry, for AWS or GCP. The difference between the Terraform and Bicep is developed by Microsoft, which can be used only on Azure. Terraform is developed by the open source company called HashiCorp, which they created it for deploying it into any cloud, not just Azure or AWS. Even Terraform, you can deploy it on the GCP, IBM cloud. There are the 100,000 plus clouds. In every cloud, you can deploy it, or even on the on-premise, you can deploy it.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Uh, no.
No. Okay. So then let's wait until it gets installed. So it is trying to install it. And if you see, these are all the things that we need to deploy, and Terraform plan will plan it, and it will show us what Terraform is trying to install it. That means over here, Terraform will say, okay, I am deploying these things. You can go ahead and verify it. So that's why if you say plan 2 to add, 0 to change. Why 2? That is creating resource group, creating storage account. Now, if you go to Azure portal, you can see, okay, here you can see what it is trying to create. So when we go back to the storage account, what is the storage account that we have written? TF str1234RG. This is our resource group name, and this is our storage account name. Okay, so it is trying to create. Now if I go to resource groups, you can see TF1234RG which got created just now, and we will use C. Storage account is also created, and if I go back to our pipeline, it says pipeline is successful, and it will show us the storage account name is created and the its storage account's private endpoint. So this is how you will use Terraform script to create your infrastructure automatically without using any of your manual clicks. That's called the Terraform infrastructure as a code, and revolution in the infrastructure started from Terraform. Now, why we use Terragrunt? When we have Terraform, what is the use of Terraform? Okay, let's see that. So, Terraform, let's say Terraform is powerful. Why? Because we can go ahead and deploy our infrastructure without any issues. But imagine managing 10 environments like dev, UAT, staging, production, test. Here, copy paste of each environment won't work if you use Terraform. Terragrunt is the advancement of Terraform, which makes Terraform clean, reusable, and environment aware. So in Terragrunt, you can have the option of writing or making clear of what environment you are trying to deploy. And if you use Terraform, you use the extension of .tf, and if you use Terragrunt, you use the extension of .hcl. So this is about the Terragrunt. Terragrunt is nothing but it's a simple and advanced technology of Terraform, and with the help of Terragrunt you can differentiate your environments from dev, UAT and staging. Okay, and now the concept of, okay, we have installed Terraform, we have write the Terraform infrastructure, and we are deploying the infrastructure, creating it using code. Now, so to make all this infrastructure or applications to deploy it using a automation way, that's where the CI/CD came into picture. That's why GitLab CI or CD is nothing but we call it as automation revolution. Automation revolution. So now here you will be having a concept of pipelines, build pipeline, deploy pipeline, stages, build stage, deploy stage. That's where you will be going, and suppose let's say if you write a Docker image and if you want to deploy the Docker image into Kubernetes, you will write a pipeline with the below like stages, build, deploy, build, stage, build, script docker build hyphen t my app docker run my app deploy stage deploy script echo deploying to Kubernetes. So this is how a basic pipeline will be written, and this pipeline you will be using either in Azure DevOps like this, or this is the pipeline that we write. So if you take, this is how you will be writing a DevOps pipeline, either it in the Gitlab or Azure DevOps or whatever it is. You will be using this with the help of this pipeline. You will deploy your application or resources into Azure, AWS, or any cloud with the help of CI/CD. That's why CI/CD is called as automation revolution. And so now, with the help of CI/CD, it will automatically build and test the pipeline, which integrates Docker and Kubernetes using Terraform. And you have seen how to go ahead and write the Terraform, how to go ahead and write the Docker image, Kubernetes. Okay. Now, if okay, fine. What is the reason why we are learning all these things now? Because of the career opportunities, right? Or you want to grow yourself, whoever are working and whoever are freshers, they want to start their new career with the help of this particular one. Okay. Now, what is how good or how your career opportunities if you go ahead and if you use or if you learn these technologies. So if we talk about the career opportunities, the DevOps engineer, DevSecOps engineer, Dev engineer, SRE engineer, or cloud engineer, or whatever it is, they have high demand, and companies who are migrating to DevOps is 90 to 95% our companies are trying to migrate. And if you take a average salary of a person in India, it will vary from 8 to 25 lakhs per annum. It's a basic salary, and in US you'll get 110k dollars. And what you need to do, you need to learn Docker, you need to learn Kubernetes, you need to learn Terraform, you need to learn GitLab. With the help of using all these tech tools or all these technologies, you will be placing a job called DevOps engineer, and you may get the salary based on your company. But it starts with 28 to 25, and it ends somewhere around 50 or 60. That is after you get trained. Now, in a 45 day of training, what we will learn is, from week 1 to 2, we will learn about Docker fundamentals. 3 to 4, we will learn about Kubernetes fundamentals. 5 to 6 weeks, you will be learning about Terraform basics to advanced. 7th week, you will be using Terragrunt for multi-environment infra. 8 to 9 weeks, you will go ahead and learn GitLab CI/CD pipelines. And 10 to 12 weeks, you will be working with advanced projects, real-time capstone. Okay. So in today's demo, you have seen how to write the code for application deployments and how to create infrastructure in seconds. And you will be mastering of all these technologies in 45 days with real-time projects and job-ready skills. Now you can go ahead and ask any questions you have.
So I'm new to the cloud. Hi Kiran, this is Venkat. I'm new to the cloud. Cloud. Can I continue this course, or I need any
Yes.
prerequisites required?
No need of any course, because we anyway start. My training style is like teaching everything with from basics, so you can directly go ahead and learn. Okay.
Okay, at least I need cloud infrastructure like that. Anything is
Cloud
admin part.
infrastructure, so that's what I'm saying. So when we learn about Terraform, you will learn about the basics of what cloud is, on which cloud you are deploying, how you are deploying. So you will anyways get that basic knowledge when you are trying to do it. Okay. And also we are trying to implement a new concept from this batch onwards is 4 days you will get a theoretical session with practical examples. But on fifth day, that is on Friday, you will go ahead and we will do a lab session. Okay. Lab session on Friday, everyone need to connect with laptop. They need to share the screen, and we will see what we are trying to trigger from this Monday to Thursday, whatever we have seen in the real time and in code, that we will try to everyone will go ahead and implement, so that you will all get a hands-on experience on these tools. So class timings are Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 a.m., and you will be getting a real-time experience with all the things. And you'll also get everyday record session by end of the day. Okay. So we'll give some time for you guys to for questions. You can go ahead and ask.
Yeah, hi Kiran. So basically, we use this Terraform, Docker, and Kubernetes, right? This is all open sources. So do
Yes,
we
these are
consider
all
this?
open sources.
Okay. So what do we need to consider? Whether we can go like under Azure or AWS? Um,
See,
so,
now the concept here is this whole training is not about going with Azure or going with AWS. This whole concept is, if you learn this technology, you can utilize it anywhere. In AWS, you can utilize same technology, you can utilize in Azure. So for now, we will deploy every application on the Azure portal. Okay.
okay.
But
Okay.
once you get trained on this technologies on the Docker or Kubernetes or Terraform or Terragrunt, you will go ahead and you will be deploying this application on the any platform, AWS or Azure or GCP or even any cloud, or even on your local machine also. The
Is this
concept
technology?
he the concept here is to make you perfect or make you ready to use any sort of cloud.
Okay. So we can mention in our CV as these are all the platforms we are uh, like we can use.
Learned.
Yeah, we
Yes.
have learned. Okay.
Yes.
Instead of mentioning only the Azure or AWS, we can
Yeah,
mention
that's
these
what
platforms.
that's what you can mention all these things. You have experience in Terraform, because you will be anyways working on the mini project or the project based scenarios. So I'll give you a real time project work that we use in our companies. So by that you will get experienced on how a company works on a project as well. So if you put all these technologies in your resume, it will make your resume weightage, and you will get an opportunity to learn or to get your job quickly, rather than just mentioning Azure or AWS.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kiran.
Yeah.
Is it supports the Foxpro based application like I have developed in the Foxpro and Visual Basics?
What application you have developed?
Yeah, like ERP developed in a
Yes,
Foxpro
these
application.
these all supports ERP based applications as well.
It is a desktop based application, and not a
Yes,
web
yes.
application.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what on-premise environment applications you are talking about. The Terraform, Kubernetes all supports the on-premise environment as well. So I would say it even supports ERP or FOXO based applications as well.
Okay.
Hi, Kiran.
Hey, hi Sai. Yeah.
I just wanted to know, along with Kubernetes, do we touch upon Helm charts or no?
Yeah, we will touch upon Helm charts, but not that advanced way. We'll get a basic knowledge of what Helm is, how can we write a Helm concepts. But our
And
main focus is on Kubernetes.
okay, okay. And also about the monitoring part like Prometheus and Grafana, do we touch
Yeah,
on that?
that anyways you will be having, we will be covering it under the Kubernetes itself.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is it possible to share this PPT so that it will be a familiar? Uh,
Oh yeah, I'll share it with admin and admin will share it with you all.
okay, sure, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Kiran.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is like Kubernetes is a big stuff, right? It will take like maximum 3 to 4 months to finish it off, but you are telling that it can be finished within 50 days.
So, Ajay, here we are not learning only pure Kubernetes concept. If you go into only one technology of Kubernetes, it will take 3 to 4 months to get into a deep dive knowledge. But here, our main agenda is not to resolve the issues on Kubernetes or not to develop any Kubernetes based Kubernetes application itself. We are taking the help of Kubernetes to deploy our applications. So that's where you just need the concept of idea of what Kubernetes is, what are pods in that, what are nodes in that, what are worker nodes, what are master nodes, how the containerization happens, how can you go ahead and deploy your Docker based image into Kubernetes and firewall concepts like this. You are not creating a Kubernetes application. You are just using your Kubernetes platform here. So that's why we are using the application Kubernetes and we are covering it in the 45 days concept.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
So with the help of, if you once learn this particular scenarios, you can write the AZ900, AZ104 certifications as well.
Kiran,
Yeah.
is your company is helping me in implementing this technology in my company? How can you
Uh,
help me with
I
this?
didn't get you. Sorry.
I want to implement this DevOps in my company. So can
Okay.
you help me?
Yes, we can help you.
Okay. Oh, can you share your mail ID so I can share my brief details about my project?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm just pasting my email ID on the chat. Okay. I'm just trying to give you, I have one. You can share the email ID to, sorry, you can share your details to this email ID. Yeah, I have put the email ID on the chat.
Received. Thank you.
Yeah, you can share your details to that. We can have a word.
Sure.
Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, so far no questions.
Okay. So if there is no questions, our classes starts from Monday, 7:30 a.m. sharp, and You will be getting the recording sessions every day. By end of the day, the admin will be sharing those details with you. Okay, so we'll continue classes from Monday then.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.